Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Pearl Tips Talk Show. Thank you for tuning in, and I welcome you to our show today. I hope that you all are able to receive some tips as we talk about something that's really important and that's really affecting the community as a whole in these unprecedented times. As always, before we start the show, I'm Danielle KP, and we talk about mental health, relationships, and life here on the Pearl Tips Talk Show. And before I start the show, I always like to start with a word of prayer so that we can pray for those who are hurting out there and those who are just going through a really hard time, and also those who are just experiencing joy and happiness. We just want to include you guys and cover you guys in prayer. Out of respect to you and your beliefs, feel free to mute me at this time and just join us back when we start again. All right. If you'd like to join me, feel free to do so. Heavenly Father, thank you for the show and thank you for the opportunity to come here again to just encourage someone who is going through some things. Lord, I pray for everyone that's going through hard times, every listener. I pray that you would cover them and give them love and light and healing wherever they are. Lord, I pray that we would be able to communicate effectively so that everyone will be able to understand and hear and just seek help and be able to receive help. In your holy name I pray. Amen. Thank you everyone again for logging on. Today we're going to talk about suicide prevention and some tips and tools and resources so that you can help someone you love or even yourself. I am joined by the amazing founders, Sherelle and Unique Melvin. They founded the Sincere2000 Foundation, and I just want to invite them to the show and invite them to tell us more about their foundation and why they formed it. So this is Sherelle and Unique. Thank you for joining us on the show, and I hope that you guys are doing well.
We're good. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. So we are the founders of Sincere2000. I'm Cheryl Melvin, and this is Unique Melvin. And we're just going to tell you a little bit about the foundation and why it's so dear and important to us and how it came about. So I just let my husband start off with just the background of how we got started.
Right. So we started Sincere2000 2 years ago in November after we lost our son to suicide. His name was Sincere, and he was born in the year 2000. So my wife and I decided to honor him by creating Sincere2000. So just to give you a brief synopsis, he died of suicide in July 11th of 2018. He was going through mental illness, had some mental health issues. We've seen, the signs and all the things that come with mental disease. So he was, like I said, he was 17, had just started college, and was going through his transitioning from the home life to the college life and all of that. And then I got the call that he actually committed suicide. And yeah, feel free if you want to ask me any question.
That just must have been really tough for any parent or anyone, going through mental illness and having to just get that call. It must be really, really tough. So with your foundation, what do you guys do with your foundation?
Well, with the foundation, we try to reach out to people that is going through the same situation and try to, just lend the ear and allow them to talk about it and to reach out and touch our foundation so that we can give back.
And connect with other organizations in order to just spread awareness. The most important thing is just making sure that we can reach someone, because, when people are going through a crisis, it's sometimes hard for them to talk to the people that are closest to them, or it's hard for them to want to reach out. They don't understand, sometimes what they're feeling, why they're feeling the way that they're feeling. They don't know the resources that are available, such as NAMI, such as 211, all different foundations and organizations that assist with people that are in crisis and in need. So, our foundation kind of bridges the gap between the more bigger organizations that deal with mental health awareness and suicide prevention. And we're just here on a more grassroots local level to where we can talk to different people from all different walks of life. We're just here to listen. We want to make sure that we spread awareness. Our mission is to make sure that we can just reach somebody, spread awareness, make sure that other people are aware that you're not alone, that, when it comes time for you to deal with some hard times and hard situations and perhaps some hard decisions in your life, that somebody does care.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's so important because even in these times, we've seen the numbers where suicide has dramatically increased because of COVID-19 and just being stuck indoors, and, job security has decreased so much. So, economic crises, and also the crisis of racism in this country has skyrocketed as well. So it's been really, really tough for individuals, especially like our young adults, our teenagers and children as well. So it's so important that you guys have this organization that you guys can reach out. That's amazing, because some of the bigger companies are a little bit, it's harder to reach people because the need is so great. So it's amazing that you guys have that bridging the gap between the community and these resources. That's amazing. How can people get in touch with you?
So our foundation is Sincere2000 Foundation. You can always look on the internet, Sincere2000, or you can type in sincere2000.org. You can also give us a call at 561-385-4469. And we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. So that's how you're able to reach out if you find yourself or somebody else in a crisis situation.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm really glad that you guys are doing this for the community. And let's help our listeners and our viewers. How do they, recognize when someone is in crisis, and what do they do? What are some things that they can do?
So we're not doctors. We don't have any degrees or anything behind us. So we're not giving any kind of medical advice at all. But signs and symptoms, sometimes you have children that become withdrawn. They don't really want to talk. The things that they might have been happy doing before, you see that they're not as happy doing it anymore. They might be very snappy, short. With Sincere, we were told he started to begin to cut himself. So, he became a cutter. His mother did recognize that, he was cutting himself. And then, we did reach out to talk with him to find out what, what's going on, and the most important thing is you have to be open. You have to be willing to tackle the hard questions and talk and engage and make sure that you're not the one holding back or pacifying any very important situation when it comes time to trying to get as much information as possible. Oftentimes we feel like if we talk about it, then perhaps it might put it in somebody else's mind, or it might, make other people say, well, I might decide to try to do this. But the more that you confront any emotions or feelings, the more you're able to deal with it. Oftentimes we find out that our coping skills are what people are lacking. You lack how to deal with situations and how to categorize to see whether or not the importance of them is, at the forefront. Right. So sometimes, what might not be important to me might be very important to you. And I can't minimize how you're feeling. I have to learn to be able to listen. So those are things that as parents and as loved ones, even with your significant other, that listening is a key. And being able to ask hard questions even when you don't want to. Why are you doing this? Are you feeling this way? What can we do to assist you with, helping you develop the coping skills and the everyday life skills in order to combat getting past that momentary feeling? Because, sometimes, just like when you have people that suffer from like anxiety or depression in different situations, at that moment, it seems like it's just the world to you, and you can't get past that moment, and just learning how to sometimes breathe yourself through a situation, talk yourself through a situation, write yourself through a situation can make all the difference in the world of getting past that momentary feeling of, I don't want to be here, or I'm having a panic attack, or I'm feeling like I'm depressed. Learning how to get through it, to work through it, to recognize, what you're feeling. You have to learn to recognize your feelings.
And just to add that, so the signs that you can look for is the things like Sincere was that we noticed, and Sincere, sometimes he's happy, and then like my wife was saying, he started this cutting process thing, and he couldn't convey the reason why he was doing what he was doing. We got him therapy and all of this, but it was still that I don't know factor. Like, I don't know why I'm doing it. I feel this, I feel that. So those are some of the things. Definitely isolate, and then just to change. You know your child, so just to change in itself, you have to look for, just to recognize it.
And that's so important. Even like in our community, in the Black community, there's a lot of things that we don't necessarily talk about.
Right.
And feelings are one of them. So it's just so important to have that open communication, so that your loved one or a child or someone can just come to you and be like, hey, I don't feel right. Something's wrong. I don't know how to explain it. Can you help me? Even those things are helpful as well. And I think that it's important for us to just have a safe place to let those feelings out, whether it's a loved one or a friend, anyone. It's so important.
Yeah, that's right. And sometimes it's just a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
A person wanting to be heard. You know what I'm saying? And like you say, it's taboo in the Black community that we kind of shelter our feelings. You know what I'm saying? Like, it don't supposed to go outside of the household and all that. And I think, like, the best thing to do is talk about it, especially with, mental health. We've been dealing with a lot of traumatic stuff, and we just put it to the wayside and just cover it up, put a Band-Aid on it.
And that's another thing.
That's worse.
Yeah, that, when you talk about the trauma that we endure, if you think about just how within our own culture and in our own area, just think about when you hear gunshots. You have 5-year-olds. My 5-year-old will be, oh, what is that? That's a gun? That's not normal.
Right.
You hear them shooting out there during, the New Year's and 4th of July, and you're sleeping through it. So after a while, you become desensitized to things that you should be more keen to. And that's when you have to be able to recognize, know your children and talk to them, because some things that we've normalized for so long sometimes can really have an effect on a child.
Absolutely.
Relationships can have effects on children. How you handle whatever situation you're going through. You have to learn to not involve kids, because sometimes you can involve your children to the point where they're affected, based on your own individual problems. So those are things that you have to be very mindful of when dealing with kids and protecting their mental health, protecting their mindset, making sure that they're they're free and clear of our drama and drama of the outside world as much as possible, and having a good dialogue and knowing that, you know, you don't shut them down when it seems a little bit abnormal to you, you know?
Or you don't understand.
Mhm.
Because I think that that's part of the mistakes that we make as adults, that we sometimes we do kind of, because we don't understand their feelings, it's minimized. And like, for instance, if your teenage son or daughter say they just broke up with their boyfriend or girlfriend, and to them it's the end of the world, but to us it's like, you'll be fine, like no worries, like just get over it, there's more fish in the sea. But even that is like minimizing their pain. So we just want to encourage loved ones out there, adults out there, to really just do your best to just listen and have your child talk to you, or your loved one talk to you. It makes a huge difference. It really does. Because a lot of times here in Florida and in Palm Beach County and Broward County, human trafficking is a huge issue. And a lot of times, like, kids who don't feel heard or they don't feel loved or safe, they get trapped into that lifestyle. So it's so important to give your kids that time to talk and to really find professionals out there that are willing to help. There are so many organizations out there that are affordable, because a lot of times, we're trying to survive. Let's be real, we're trying to survive, and mental health is expensive, and it takes time, but there are organizations out there willing to help. I also took some notes to kind of give our viewers and listeners some more tips that they can kind of pay attention to. I got this from the suicide prevention on Lifeline. It's from the National Suicide Prevention website. And I'm also, all of the resources and references that we discussed here is going to be on the link in the description box, so you can have access to them as well. So some of the symptoms that the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline reports are talking about wanting a person, an individual talking about wanting to die or to kill themselves, looking for ways to kill themselves, like searching online or buying a gun, talking about feelings of hopelessness or having no reason to live. Another sign that you can kind of pay attention to is talking about feeling trapped or in an unbearable pain, increase in use of alcohol or drugs, acting anxious or agitated, behaving recklessly, sleeping too little or too much, withdrawing or isolating, which are some of the things that we spoke about, and also showing rage or talking about seeking revenge or extreme mood swings. That's another sign that you guys can kind of pay attention to. And also, the one that we really don't talk about is there's also individuals who can seem to not fit any of these description, and all of a sudden you hear about them actually committing and going through with suicide, and that can be devastating, because there's a lot of guilt and shame left on the survivor. I just want to encourage you guys out there and let you guys know that you just got to do the best that you can. And for those who are feeling as if there is no hope, there is hope out there. You being here is proof that there is hope, and there's something greater than you, and there's a purpose for your life. And I think that's one of the main things that we would like to convey to you guys and convey to parents out there. Unique and Cheryl, is there anything else that you would like to add to kind of help our listeners, or just encourage them and let them know how to continue on?
So I think that, for us, it's been a great outlet with the foundation. It's been a wonderful outlet to be able to put it out there in front of the world, to let people know, like, don't be ashamed, to make sure that your voice is heard, to spread awareness, to make sure that everybody understands that it can happen to anybody. you know, and you said something where, you know, it leaves a lot of guilt. It might leave the shame. It might leave, you know, unanswered questions. You have all of that, you know, because you're always searching for what you could have done, what you should have done, how you could have handled it. And, you know, the most important thing to convey to anybody is just that, you know, you're not alone. You have to make sure that you reach out, that you get help. There's nothing wrong with seeking a therapist. It's nothing wrong with it. It's nothing wrong with talking. It's nothing wrong with making sure that, you know, you cry when you need to cry, you scream when you need to scream, you write when you need to write, you try to process every aspect of what you're feeling, but you have to feel it, because when somebody leaves you, it takes your soul. You know, it takes everything out of you. It takes your whole being, because you're constantly searching for why. Just the same way they're constantly searching for why. Why are they feeling the way they're feeling? Why do I have to deal with this? What is wrong with me? You know, they're searching for all of these answers while they're living. You know, and then once they decide or have decided, and hopefully you don't have to continue to go through this pattern, but you know, if the person completes suicide, then they feel like their pain is gone, you know, but yet it's still the beginning of more pain, you know, for people that are left to try to figure it out, you know, and what you can do and how you can help. It's just, it's a lot, but you have to take it step by step. You have to process it when you're able to process it, put it to the back when you have to put it to the back, breathe through it, you know, talk through it, you know, because it's a lot.
Yeah, and I want to add also, like my wife was saying, process it when you have to process it. You know, like don't put in. I think for me, seeing a therapist, and I think that was like one of the greatest things. You know, like you can't be afraid to seek help. You can't be afraid to talk about it. You just you have to keep on. You know what I mean? Like if you feeling, you know, there's times when I have to process it. You know, and these are natural things. These are things that we have to exercise our mental health. You know, like there's mental health, and then there's mental illness. You know, the mental health we all have. You know, mental illness is when you can't control the aspect of your mental health. So you have to know and understand that, and I think it's a good thing now because the world is starting to talk about the mental health and the mental illness, you know, and it's time to normalize it. You know what I mean? It's time to talk about it,
Remove the stigma.
remove the stigma, wherever you're at, just because it helps. It really helps. It lets you know that you're not the only one that's going through something, you know, and you got to be able to recognize it, and you got to be able to be vocal about it, because that's the only way that you're going to be able to get the help. You know, I have this thing where I say, you know, it's only for now, and this too shall pass. You know, and not to stay in one specific spot, because then you're dealing with, you know what I'm saying, the illness portion of it. So I think everyone needs to process it, deal with it. However you're gonna deal with it, if, whether it's whatever your way is. I don't even want whatever your way is, but just know that you have to deal with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like what you guys said, that we had to end the stigma. And I totally agree with that. And that's the whole reason for the show, is to really just open up and talk about mental health and just giving hope and healing and just normalizing the conversation, because we are human and
Yeah.
we all feel. And I think that thought process has been so stigmatized, that we don't think that feeling is normal, and we don't always have to be strong all the time, and we gotta just let it go, and we have to talk, and we have to heal. When we start to heal, our community heals, and our generations heal. So I think it's so important for us to really just tap into our mental health, and reach out to resources. And I just wanted to give the National Suicide Prevention Hotline that you can call 24/7. It's available, and it's nationally. So wherever you are in the United States, you can call this number, and it's 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-8255. You can also, in Palm Beach County, you can also dial 211 and get access right away to talk to someone. And if you want any further resources, feel free to reach out to the Sincere2000 Foundation. And also you can tap into NAMIPBC.org. That's NAMIPBC.org. And you can also Google the Department of Children and Families website for even more resources. The resources are out there. If you guys need any help navigating them, please reach out to myself or Cheryl or Unique. We're all here for you guys. We're a community. So we're in the process of healing. So thank you guys so much for coming on the show and talking about this important topic. And let's break the stigma. Really and truly, let's break the stigma. It's time.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us, Danielle. Really appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you so much. And to everyone out there, just want to remind you that you are worth way more than pearls, and you are meant to be here. So I just want to encourage you. And until next time, take care. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Have a good one.